Hello everyone, I'm Charlie from Dr. Wen, and welcome to yet another daily Doctor Who YouTube video. Today, as you can most probably guess, I will be telling you my top 10 favourite Doctor Who, New Who stories of all time. So that's the revived era of Doctor Who since 2005. I won't be including any Classic Who episodes, because usually I don't really include Classic Who and New Who in the same video. So, obviously, lots of other YouTubers have do this related to Doctor Who, and I thought I would too, since it's quite a simple concept, and I thought you might be interested in my opinions on my favourite episodes. Some of these results will surprise you quite a bit, because my favourites aren't the generic favourites, I guess you'd say. I have some quite unpopular opinions about Doctor Who. So, let's get into this video. So, obviously, I love all of these episodes, it's just some are a little bit better than others. In 10th place, we have The Name of the Doctor, which I've given a 9.4. I mentioned this in my ranking Series 7 video, and the main reasons I love it are, it solves the mystery of the Impossible Girl that had been teased throughout the entire of this series, all the way since Asylum of the Daleks. She reappeared in The Snowmen, and then she's been a major companion in Series 7B. We finally got the answer as to why there are so many versions of her, and it's a really satisfying conclusion. But this didn't even end her arc here, she's a companion in Series 8 and 9 as well. This has some really good ideas as well, with the Doctor's huge TARDIS grave on Trenzalore. I thought that was really good design, and a noticeable change and improvement in visual effects and CGI. This also has really good villains, the Great Intelligence and the Whispermen. They're really good since they'd appeared in the Snowmen as well. And this includes a Paternoster gang, the Straxa Sontaran, Madame Vastra the Silurian, and Jenny the Human. I always really like to see the Paternoster gang, and it's a shame they only had like 4 or 5 appearances in New Who. I think they first appeared in A Good Man Goes to War, and reappeared in The Snowmen, and then Crimson Horror, Name of the Doctor, and Deep Breath, so 5 appearances. And this also has Trenzalore, which is a planet where all Time Lords' graves are, and not all Time Lords, all Time Travellers' graves are. And this foreshadows his regeneration really well, and they go back there afterwards, set a few hundred years into Trenzalore's future. So, yes, I really like this episode. It's a phenomenal finale to Series 7, and I love it. In 9th place we have Human Nature, the Family of Blood, a 2-parter in Series 3 of Doctor Who. I've given this a 9.5, so a little bit of a step up from Name of the Doctor. The main reasons I love this are that the Doctor uses a chameleon arc, which we hadn't really explored yet, and it was interesting to see the most human Doctor become fully human and even more human. It was actually quite funny because he didn't change as much, so to speak, in terms of his personality and how emotional and human he is. I thought it was really good as well how he was like crying saying, "I'm just John Smith, I'm not the Time Lord," and I did really like the reveal in the second part, Family of Blood, where he pretends to just be John Smith, but actually he's found the pocket watch and becomes Time Lord again. I really liked that. These are great villains. We never actually see the Family of Blood themselves because they just kind of inhabit human bodies, and the way the Doctor trapped them at the end is genius, with the like falling into a star and then there's trapped in a mirror, which was actually mentioned a lot of times in Series 8 as well, like when the 12th Doctor said, "Don't look at that mirror, she's furious." I'm pretty sure he actually meant the girl he trapped in there. So this also has pretty weird secondary villains. That's the reason why this is lower than some of the others. That's really the only criticism I have towards this episode. You know, those Scarecrow villains. I thought that was a little bit weird. But this has a great final battle, you know, the battle between all the Scarecrow villains of the Family of Blood and the people at the school. But Martha also doesn't really do that much, which is quite good. I consider this to be a companion light episode, because Martha, in the grand scheme of things in this episode, isn't really that important, and it's a Doctor-based episode. There we go. In 8th place we have Blink, which I've given a 9.5 as well. We have 2 consecutive stories in a row here. We have Human Nature, Family of Blood, but right after it in Series 3 is Blink, which is one of the first times this ever happened in my ranking. The main reason why I love this episode is that it explores time travel in a really in-depth way for the first time ever. I mean, there were some other sort of time travel-based episodes in Classic Who, and I don't just mean they time travel, I mean it explores the consequences of it, like in Day of the Daleks and Genesis of the Daleks in the 3rd and 4th Doctor's era. So yeah, I really like how they explore time travel with the whole her friend, and then going back in time, and her friend's grandson immediately arrives at the door, even though she didn't even remember her having one. I thought that was a really good idea, and that person who she met. And this proves that Dr. Light episodes can be good. This is both the Dr. Light episode and Companion Light episode, and the previous one didn't really go down that well, for example, Love and Monsters. Although I quite liked it, still, it wasn't one of the best episodes, but this one proves that they can be really good, and this is the best Dr. Light episode ever, in my opinion. IMDb has rated this as a 9.8, it's the highest rated episode on their database, and I don't really blame them, but I don't think it deserves as high a rating as some of the other episodes I've got in this list. Sally Sparrow is also a great companion, and Carey Mulligan, the person who played her, was actually offered to be the companion for Series 4, but she declined, so Donna took her place. In 7th place we have the two-parter in Series 4, Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Most people know that this is a brilliant episode. It has incredible villains. The Vashta Nerada are possibly my favourite new series villain. So my favourite villain that's just in the new series, not in Classic Who at all. They're really interesting, and it's quite good to see that they can only survive in the dark. I thought that was really good, and it was really creepy, the whole suits, and that there was that person in the cliffhanger who kept on going, "Hey, who turned out the lights?" I thought that was really scary, actually, and the scenes where they were running away from the darkness, I thought that was really good. This also introduces River, the Doctor's wife, but the Doctor doesn't even know who she is yet. I think that sets up the arc really well, and yeah, I really like it. This is the scenes in Forest of the Dead where Donna's in that computer world. They're also really creepy as well, and I just love this episode. Next up, we have 6th place, A Good Man Goes to War. I've given this a 9.5 as well. There is one word to describe this, as I said in my ranking Series 6 episodes video, and that is epic. This is the finale of Series 6A, because obviously Series 6 was split up into 2 parts. This is the finale of the first part, and it's brilliant. We have Madame Kovarian manipulating River into killing the Doctor, we have the silence, we have the headless monks, and every part of it's brilliant. We have an awesome team-up with Rory and the Paternoster Gang, and we have the introduction of Melody Pond and River, and that big reveal at the end with River saying, "I am Melody Pond." I honestly didn't see that coming. And I find it quite interesting how the Doctor basically lost in this, because he thought he'd won, but the baby he was holding was flesh, and yeah, it was just really sad, that part, actually. And it has really interesting ideas as well, with the Doctor having an army rise up against him because he was too dangerous. I thought that was really good. And it introduces the Paternoster Gang. And it isn't really explained where they came from, but I do really like the Paternoster Gang, as I said before, in Name of the Doctor. So, yeah, I really like this. Now we're getting into my top 5. In 5th place we have Dark Water and Death in Heaven, the 2-part finale of Series 8. This was the first 2-parter we'd had since the Rebel Flesh and the Almost People in Series 6, and this is brilliant. It's a Cyberman story, it's got Missy, it has everything, it blew me away. I've given this a 9.5 as well. You may notice that lots of these are 9.5s. The Cybermen are good, and I really didn't expect them. I thought this would be a Master story, because I did have my suspicions about Missy being the Master. I thought this would just be Missy and not really Cybermen, but I really liked that scene where the doors closed together, the Cybermen theme played, and I just really wasn't expecting it. The new design is really good. It's similar to Nightmare in Silver, but the faces have got a tad of Classic Who in there, which I thought was really good. This is probably one of my favourite Cyberman designs ever. This also develops and finishes the Danny arc. His death and conversion is really sad, especially with that scene where he's giving orders to all those other Cybermen to betray Missy. I thought that was really good, and it was insane how even after he turned off the emotional inhibitor, he still knew he loved Clara. I thought that was really good. It had really interesting ideas as well with a nethersphere, like an afterlife. I'm surprised Doctor Who hadn't explored this earlier. And I do really like the Master reveal with Missy. I think she's one of the best Masters. Not as good as O, in my opinion, but I did have my suspicions about her being the Master before. I think it's quite self-explanatory looking at the fact she was called Missy. So, there we go. In 4th place we have Day of the Doctor, with a 9.7. Day of the Doctor is incredible. It's the 50th anniversary special. It was broadcast in cinemas and television screens alike on the 23rd of November 2013, exactly 50 years after the first episode of Classic Who, An Unearthly Child, aired. There is one word to describe this, and it is phenomenal. It's just incredible. It's got the mysterious Zygon subplot in Unit Headquarters. It brings back Unit after the Power of Three, and I think it was a good use of the time instead of just having some filler subplots to kind of waste the time. I do really like that scene where the 10th and 11th Doctors meet, and eventually the War Doctor. I thought that scene was really funny. It can be argued they spend a little bit too much time in medieval England, but that's my only complaint, really. I do like the scene as well where the War Council of Gallifrey is saying, "No sir, all 13, and the 12th Doctor shows up. That entire scene where they're freezing Gallifrey and it's got the clips from all the other Doctors is just brilliant. And this foreshadows 11's death again, just like in Name of the Doctor. And yeah, the 10th and 11th Doctors have great chemistry. I love every part of this episode. It's brilliant. In 3rd place is Heaven Sent, which I've given a 9.8. We're getting onto some really, really high-rated episodes now. Heaven Sent is brilliant in every way imaginable. It's got incredible visuals and direction. Every single shot of this episode is eye candy. It's really creepy, with the villain being the Veil, just always following him, and breaking the wall scene where he's kind of saying, "If I didn't know any better, I'd say I'd be 1 billion years into the future." That whole sequence with him doing all those steps but faster and faster each time, I thought that was really good, and this is possibly one of the best episodes in all of Doctor Who, including Classic Who. It's obviously still 3rd, but this is really close to my top 2 spots, and the cliffhanger to Hellbent is incredible. Hellbent was a little bit of a letdown, but I still really like the cliffhanger with Gallifrey, and I find it really interesting how it's not that real. It's just kind of representation of his grief for a certain character that had died in the previous episode. I'm not going to say who, because I know some people who haven't watched this episode yet, but when you've seen the episode Face the Raven, then let me know. Alright, in 2nd place, we have Twice Upon a Time, which I've given a 9.9. I've said in the past that this is my top spot, but after watching my actual top spot, then I realised that this had to be shifted down a tiny bit. This is an incredible episode. It's 9.9. This is the best Christmas special ever. It's brilliant. It's the best First Doctor story, and the second best 12th Doctor story, best Christmas special. It has everything. Yes, it's more of a character piece. It doesn't have that much of a plot, but that's fine. The multi-Doctor story idea is really good, having the 1st and 12th Doctors. 2 Doctors both dying and both resisting regeneration. I really like that idea. It is quite funny as well how, I do like that whole scene with the clips of the Doctor, like, destroying planets and things, saying, "You are the Doctor of War," and the 12th Doctor saying, "Well, you missed out all the jokes." I really like that scene. And this has a really emotional regeneration speech, and brings Clara back as well, because obviously Clara had left the TARDIS team by then, and Bill Nardole and Clara all appear in front of him, just as visions, like saying goodbye. It's a really nice end to the Stephen Moffat era, and I love it. In 1st place, though, World Enough and Time, The Doctor Falls. This is the only episode, in my opinion, that is pure perfection. I've given this a 10 out of 10. Pure solid 10. This has everything. It has the Mondasian Cybermen and the future Cybermen both teaming up to destroy the Doctor. It's a multi-master story. It has both Misty and the Harry Saxon Master. The Master reveal is brilliant. The cliffhanger at the end of World Enough and Time, The Doctor Falls. It can be argued that The Doctor Falls is much better, but this is still an incredible episode, and the cliffhanger sets up Twice Upon a Time really nicely with the regeneration. It has great ideas, a black hole spaceship with him leaving Bill for 10 years. It has so much. I could talk about this for hours. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and next time. So, tomorrow, then, I will be ranking all episode 1s of the new series. not including two-parters or anything, but I hope you enjoy it, and see you then. Goodbye.